270th day of the continued oppression faced by the innocent people in the Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Under the garb of the so-called cordon and search operations, Indian occupation forces in Jammu and Kashmir have been particularly targeting Kashmiri youth. In April alone, 29 innocent Kashmiris have been martyred, including 7 since the onset of the holy month of Ramadan. In addition to this, harassment and intimidation of Kashmiri journalists has further intensified under the notorious Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, while the Indian occupation forces continue to operate with complete impunity covered under draconian laws such as PSA and AFSPA. The Indian Chargé d'Affaires was once again summoned earlier today to the Foreign Office to register Pakistan's strong protest over the ceasefire violations by the Indian occupation forces along the line of control in Rakchakri sector on 29 April 2020, which resulted in shahadat and serious injuries to innocent civilians, including Zubia Bibi and Rashida Bibi, who embraced shahadat, whereas 10-year-old Faizan Hassan and 55 years old Roshana Bibi sustained serious injuries. In 2020 alone, India has committed 919 ceasefire violations and deliberately targeted innocent civilians living close to the line of control in Azad Jammu and Kashmir with artillery fire, heavy caliber mortars, and automatic weapons. Pakistan once again calls upon India to respect the 2003 ceasefire understanding, investigate this and all such incidents of deliberate ceasefire violations, and maintain peace along the line of control and the working boundary. We also urge the Indian side to allow the UNMOGIP to play its mandated role as per the UN Security Council resolutions. Pakistan also categorically rejects baseless Indian allegations of infiltration attempts and unfounded claims of targeting of launching pads across the line of control. It is obvious that the Indian propaganda machine is in overdrive. Pakistan also rejects the provocative statements of the Indian Defence Minister, including his recent statement and preposterous claim that we are dominating the enemy. There is nothing new about Mr. Rajnath Singh's delusions, nor about his belligerent anti-Pakistan rhetoric. Let there be no ambiguity. These repeated Indian allegations have one primary purpose, that is, to divert world attention from India's state terrorism and grave human rights violations in the Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. India also seeks to use these allegations as a pretext for a false flag operation. Pakistan has been continuously sensitizing the international community about such an eventuality and urging India to desist from any ill-considered action. Pakistan and the people of Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have firmly rejected these Indian machinations in the past and will continue to do so in the future. Our immediate and effective response to India's Balakot misadventure clearly demonstrated Pakistan's will, capacity, and preparedness. India should not underestimate the resolve of the people and the armed forces of Pakistan to thwart any aggressive design. In parallel, India has also sought to take advantage of the world's preoccupation with COVID-19 to further push its Hindutva agenda in the Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The changes in the domicile rules represent another opportunistic move by the RSS BJP dispensation to advance their sinister aim of effecting a demographic change in the occupied territory. In this context, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has addressed letters to the OIC Secretary General and his counterparts in the OIC. The Foreign Minister has sensitized them towards the hate-mongering as part of the RSS-BJP dispensation's anti-Muslim and anti-minority agenda based on the extremist Hindutva ideology. The Foreign Minister apprised the OIC Secretary General about the BJP government's systemic campaign to demonize Muslims by holding them responsible for the spread of the coronavirus. He has underscored that Indian actions are in contravention of international conventions and seriously undermine global efforts for religious harmony during these challenging times. We hope that the international community will take due cognizance and urge India to reverse this course, which is fraught with risks, for the safety and security of India's minorities, particularly Muslims, and for their fundamental rights and freedoms. Voices from within India and around the world continue to condemn the increasing wave of BJP's inspired hate crimes against minorities. The US Commission on International Religious Freedom, in its annual report, has once again placed India into its list of countries of particular concern for engaging in and tolerating systematic, ongoing, and egregious religious freedom violations. The report has highlighted that the Indian government allowed violence against minorities and their houses of worship to continue with impunity and also engaged in and tolerated hate speech and incitement to violence. The report also stated inter alia that mob lynching of persons suspected of cow slaughter or consuming beef continued, with most attacks occurring within BJP-ruled states. As you are also aware, separately, that the Prime Minister's call for a global initiative on debt relief has been widely welcomed at the United Nations, including by the President of the General Assembly and the Economic and Social Council. In consultation with the UN and other international institutions, Pakistan will convene a group of interested countries at the UN to commence consultations on further steps that can be taken to evolve a comprehensive solution to the debt challenges of developing countries resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister will be reaching out to a number of world leaders to discuss the need for a coordinated and comprehensive solution to the debt issue. Earlier, Pakistan's preparedness and response plan to combat COVID-19 was virtually launched on 23rd April 2020 on a global scale in collaboration with the UN, World Health Organization, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and other global partners and stakeholders. The PPRP has been envisaged to enable Pakistan to effectively mitigate the incidence of COVID-19 in the country by strengthening capacity in emergency prevention, response, and relief and building of health systems. In the face of the challenge posed by the coronavirus pandemic, the Chinese government and the Chinese people have stood firmly by Pakistan and their Pakistani brethren. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 in Pakistan, China has extended tremendous support. It has so far provided $4 million in cash donations, in addition to 390 ventilators, 330,000 testing kits, 830,000 N95 masks, 5.8 million surgical masks, 42,000 protective suits, and millions of other protective equipment. Pakistan has also received critical medical supplies, including a vast quantity of disposable surgical masks, KN95 masks, testing kits, protective clothing, and portable ventilators from People's Liberation Army and the Three Gorges Corporation. PLA has also sent a medical team to Pakistan to assist us to control the pandemic. Earlier, it may be recalled that a team of Chinese medical experts had also visited Pakistan under the instructions of President Xi Jinping to assist us to contain the pandemic. The team stayed in Pakistan from 28 March till 17th of April and visited various provinces in Pakistan to strengthen their capacity. Their experience has greatly helped Pakistani health practitioners to understand and better deal with the spread of the coronavirus. In addition to this, the Jack Ma Foundation has provided 2 batches of medical supplies, over 500,000 face masks, including N95 masks, and a number of ventilators. Moreover, provincial governments, chambers, and private corporations in China have donated vital medical equipment to our provinces and institutions. China has also helped and facilitated Pakistan in commercial procurement of medical supplies from different Chinese manufacturers. We are immensely grateful to the government and the people of China for extending both moral and material support to Pakistan in the wake of the outbreak of COVID-19. The compassion, generosity, and thoughtfulness shown by the Chinese government and the people will be long remembered by the people of Pakistan. Notwithstanding the outbreak of COVID-19, both countries are taking relevant measures which will help in timely completion of CPEC projects that will be a catalyst for growth and prosperity in the region. As you are aware, as part of the national effort to fight the coronavirus pandemic, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our missions abroad continue to provide our overseas communities with relief and assistance wherever required. Food rations are being provided by all missions abroad to those in need, as well as financial assistance where required. Repatriation of our nationals back home also continues as per the comprehensive and phased plan developed in coordination with all stakeholders. In the past few days, as part of the 3rd phase of repatriation plan between the 20th and the 28th of April 2020, 251 stranded Pakistanis were brought back from Qatar, 70 from Singapore, 50 from 4 European states, including Poland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, 209 from Australia, 252 from Qatar, 49 from Sri Lanka, and 30 from Frankfurt. 3 flights from Dubai also brought back 524 of our nationals. In addition to this, in the last few days, 1,044 Pakistani nationals have been repatriated from Afghanistan via the Chaman border. So altogether, between the 21st of March and the 28th of April, 14,330 of our nationals have come back home safely from 32 countries. And finally, in order to strengthen our communication and exchange with all Pakistan missions abroad and our diaspora communities spread across the world through the digital medium, the Foreign Minister has held virtual town hall meetings with Pakistani community members in the United Kingdom and the United States. Through this virtual outreach, the Foreign Minister was able to brief the community members of the efforts being made by the government to control the spread of the pandemic in Pakistan, as well as the relief and repatriation services being provided to our overseas nationals in different parts of the world. The Foreign Minister, through these virtual town hall meetings, also gained first-hand information from our community members on the difficulties they faced in the UK and the US. He advised our heads of missions and officers to remain responsive and provide timely information and assistance to the community members. These virtual town hall meetings with Pakistani communities in different parts of the world will continue to take place regularly, where our overseas communities will have an opportunity to interact with the foreign minister in real time and exchange views on the services that our missions are providing and the efforts of the government to control the pandemic inside Pakistan. Thank you.